Oklahoma, the first year in the conference, they get a share of that title. LSU, first time they have won it in 6 years, so they are back into that regular season title. Here is your championship format. No more than 2 apparatus run simultaneously. 6 gymnasts compete on each apparatus. Like the regular season, top 5 scores count. Here's the big change as we head into the postseason, though. 4 judges per event. There's 2 in the regular season. Now there are 4 judges. You drop the high and the low and average the middle scores. If you want to see every routine of this SEC championship, you can. Tune into SEC Network Plus or the ESPN app, and you can see every routine. I recommend watching the live coverage, because why wouldn't you? And then have that streaming coverage on as well. Here we go with the first rotation here in session 2. Oklahoma on vault. Lily Peterson starting off there. LSU will be on bars, Missouri on balance beam, and Florida on floor exercise.
Just a freshman, Yurchenko 1.5. Solid start, dependable. Coaches say she's really elevated the lineup because of how solid she's able to get them going.
LSU starting on the bars. This is Lexi Zeiss, man. She has been a fantastic freshman as well. A little bit under the shadow of Kaylin Chio, but she's great.
Yeah, both freshmen starting off really rock solid. Coach Jay Clark says Lexi's dependable. He feels at ease when she goes up first.
We talk a lot about Kaylin Chio, and he said, Jay Clark said that Lexi Zeiss actually has a similar attitude and approach to gymnastics, rock solid.
Missouri gets the lucky draw starting on beam, although I don't know what part of the rotation beam is actually a great spot to be in, but this is Abby Miller getting things going.
You know, it's funny, John. Coaches say that this is actually a good place for them to start because it's been a strong event for them, especially ending the lineup with Helen Hu, scored lots of 10s.
Victoria Wynn on floor exercise for Florida. Right hand of your screen.
Yeah, and Missouri, they anticipated they were probably going to start on beam, so before it was official, they've actually been practicing starting on beam to get used to it in practice.
Oh. Big wobble on the left-hand side of your screen on beam. Looking for a strong recovery.
Victoria has worked to clean up that first pass. I've noticed she's gotten a lot stronger, a lot more elevation on her tumbling passes.
One of the things Missouri's been working on is how to recover after a mistake, and sticking the landing. I think that's showing you've learned that lesson at a high level. Great job finishing for Abby.
What I look for in that front layout is you see her arms went right to the side, almost as if she's pushing her shoulder blades together. Gives it an extra floaty look.
Beautiful start for Florida. All these teams ranked high nationally on each of these individual events. Here is Faith Torres, second gymnast to go here on vault for Oklahoma. 9.85 for Peterson.
Heather Yurchenko 1.5 in the lineup. They have 9 10-0 start value vaults. So they choose lineups based on who's hitting in the warm-up, which is really incredible to have that much depth on the event.
It really is, and I noticed Faith, she runs with her knees up, which puts her in a better position to have her chest up into that entry point on the vault.
Faith, the number 2 gymnast in the country, currently on vault. So many individually ranked gymnasts on that Oklahoma team. Ashley Cowan now jumps onto the bars. She is the 2024 SEC champ on this event.
Yeah, and you'll see why right here. That huge first release move. Ashley told me that she doesn't even see the bar. She just relies on the muscle memory, which is very rare. A lot of gymnasts are able to see the bar right before they catch it. Going to do a double layout. Great stuck landing. Judges are looking for that first layout position to be above the bar. Got to be really happy with that one.
Strong high release move above the bar, quickly into that overshoot release move combination. Stretches to a nice shape, which helps her stick the landing there. Nice job. They're hoping that stick's contagious.
Earn the stick crown on that one. Have you guys noticed the stick crown gets caught in their hair a lot this year?
I know you're bothered by that.
Every meet, we'll see the stick crown get stuck in someone's hair. We'll see if Ashley survives.
We need a different
stick crown
fabric up there on the top.
So Abby Miller for Missouri on beam, a 9.725. That score in this SEC championship is not going to get you on the top of the podium. If you're counting scores regularly in the 9.85s even, you are not going to win this meet. You've got to really average around a 9.9 if you want to give yourself a shot. Gabby Dizador for Florida on floor exercise follows a 9.875 from Wynn.
Looked like Gabby almost lost her balance a little bit in the corner there. Sometimes you're so focused on what you have to do that you don't think about the simple dance elements. So that will be a deduction right there too.
Amy Weir, left hand of your screen, Oklahoma transfer.
Split jump, split path, really focusing on the rhythm in this beam routine. What's interesting to me about this Missouri team is that everybody in the lineup except Amari is brand new. So the fact that this event is a strength for them, I think speaks volumes to the culture on this team and also the coaching staff to get them so dialed in and focused that it's a strength.
Notice she stepped out of it and did that back kick to try to hide the landing. You are allowed to lunge out of your landings. That kick was choreographed to try to hide a landing deduction. I think the judges will still take off a little bit because they want to see a little bit more control.
Kira Wells, 12th in the nation on this event. Oklahoma has 4 athletes in the top 20 in the country currently on this event. A pair of 9.85s to start for the Sooners.
Yeah, Kira's never stuck a vault in her career, except she stuck 2 in the last 4 weeks. So
almost.
She is on a roll, and we saw this with a few vaults in Alabama. If you're not sticking, that's as close as you can get. Well, job well done.
Maybe the best freshman in the entire country is Kaylin Chio. She has been a star from the very first competition until this point, and she follows Ashley Collins, 9.9. Look out for LSU on bars. Already a 9.9 with the second athlete with 4 great routines to come.
Coach Clark said you couldn't draw Kaylin's start as a freshman better in your head if you tried. That handstand right on top of the bar. Judges allow for a 10-degree window. This release move, very unique. Catches it with elbows straight. Exactly what the judges want to see.
New to her routine this year, this dismount is the only thing that I've ever seen give her a little bit of pause, but there's something about when she competes. She's always a gamer. I asked head coach Jay Clark, and he goes, I don't know, she's a killer.
In the elbow position right when she catches that bar, great distance from the bar, and just squeezes her knees and toes, and somehow manages to always stick the landing. Very impressive.
It's like a carbon copy every time she goes up. And I'm going to quiz you guys later on what a carbon copy is. We'll talk about it after the show. Amari Celestine, the third gymnast from Missouri, follows a 9.8 from Amy Weir. Missouri feels like the team, you guys, if they want to win, they've got to be the most perfect compared to what their potential is than the other teams. Very little margin for error. Taylor Clark starting her floor routine for Florida.
John, an interesting element of this, Florida is the only team here that has not competed on podium all season. Missouri has competed on 1. LSU and Oklahoma have competed on 2. I spoke with head coach Jenny Rowland, and she said people like Sky Blakely are so comfortable with it, but it's athletes like Taylor Clark who have minimal experience and tumble like crazy that I'm going to have to remind throughout the day, hey, the podium feels a bit different.
Yeah, Taylor, and these 2 events, I would say, are affected the most by the podium. On the left-hand side of your screen is balance beam, and it adds an extra bounce. So the timing of your skills have to be much more patient, which is tough to do when you have so much adrenaline. And then on floor, with what you're saying with Taylor, Allie, you know this well, controlling your landings when you're already a powerful athlete can sometimes be tough to do on podium.
Yeah, and I think this competition in particular, those jumps that Taylor did, the judges have been extra picky with that this season. Judges are looking for legs glued together in between jumps. They want to see an even 180 split in legs close together really fast for a dynamic finish.
Those landings look pretty good to me, though. She's doing a great job with the control.
Addison Fada for Oklahoma. She is also a freshman. Takes to the vault, left hand of your screen.
They're looking for a stick. Yurchenko 1.5. 1 step forward, not too shabby though.
Yeah, Kira Wells a 9.9 with that small hop. We talked a little bit about vault. We bantered back and forth about vault and thought whoever wins vault might win this competition. Sam, I know you were pretty strong with that. I think it's a great take. And that comes down to who's going to stick the most vaults. Oklahoma has not stuck a vault yet. The team that sticks vaults and has great landings is LSU. Look out. I know they have to do that one at the end of the competition. And if they got a leader, it's close.
Yeah, we'll see.
Aaliyah Finnegan follows Kaylin Chio's 9.95. That matches a season high for her and ties her for the lead on that event as well.
Aaliyah does a great job on this event, being dynamic, just like that in the cast handstand. She takes one skill at a time. Sam, we talked about the podium. This is also another event where the bars can feel bouncier, and you have to adjust your rhythm really right in the moment. Newer dismount for Aaliyah, full in, stuck that.
Have they taken a step on a landing yet?
They're looking hot, that's what I know, John. They're in it to win it.
You know, and conversely, we talked about bars. I felt like Oklahoma had a big advantage on bars, and they needed to win that event. I don't know if they're going to beat this bar rotation from LSU. They look out, lights out.
Well, you know what I think the consensus that we're all actually saying is that sticks is what's going to make the difference, because all four of these teams execute their skills at such a high level that it's going to come down to every little tenth.
Absolutely. Taylor Clark for Florida on floor, a 9.9. Leanne Wong will be the next one to go for Florida, but maybe the story of this first rotation, Missouri, 2 scores in the 9.7s already. That means they're going to have to count that 9.75. Remember, in women's gymnastics, you drop the low score of the 6. So you can have one mistake, you can wipe it away, but you got to count 5 scores already after 3 routines. Missouri's got 2 9.7s. You can't count those in this meet. So an early hole, not the end of their meet, but they've got to be great the rest of the way here on beam.
Florida leads with the most amount of 10s out of any team in the entire country with 6. And one of those 10s was Leanne Wong on floor.
And it was just last week, Allie.
That first tumbling pass double layout is exceptional. It's so difficult to keep your body in that laid out position the entire time.
Nicely done from Leanne Wong, and it was also nicely done from Elle Mueller from Oklahoma. This is moments ago. We were talking about stuck landings, guys. Well, I don't want to ruin the ending.
Another Yurchenko, 1.5 for Oklahoma. Could she be their first stick? She does it.
And that was after Addison Fada's 9.875. And they need to be great, because you know who is great right now? It's LSU, a pair of 9.95s. Aaliyah Finnegan got one. And I will say, I don't want to throw a lot of hyperbole around. Nobody executes bars better than this athlete, Connor McLean.
John, it's reasons like this handstand, this church right here, massive release move all the way down to the low bar. She is a gymnast that is perfectly capable of getting that 10.0. Has to hit this at the top. Textbook. Exactly what the judges are looking for.
And she held it on top of the bar too. Oh.
And I was about to say, if she stuck that landing, I'd pack a lunch finding the 10th off, but that was definitely a 1/10 step. As we see Olivia Kelly now in an important spot for Missouri. Addison Lawrence right before her, a 9.8. No 9.9s, actually nothing higher than a 9.8 for them on this event. And I don't want to say that's a catastrophic start, but that might very well be. for Missouri.
True in terms of the scoring standpoint, but they're the only team that has done beam so far. So we don't know what's going to happen when every team comes to this event right here.
You're absolutely right, Sam. That reminds me, this past summer at the Olympic Games, in the beam final, almost every single competitor fell, and those are the top 8 gymnasts in the world on beam. Beam, you never know what's going to happen, and it's hard going up first on beam.
A transfer from UCLA to Florida. What an addition she has been. Selena Harris Miranda, 16th in the country on floor currently.
And I've watched her for a couple of years, and she is just outstanding. We talk about Kaylin Chio being so good with the landings. Selena Harris, in a similar way, does such a good job absorbing the floor.
Jordan Bowers to anchor the vault rotation. Left hand to your screen for the Sooners. 9.95 for Elle Mueller.
Last year, Chenko 1.5 for OU.
Big step out of that.
Judges can take up to 4/10 of a landing deduction on that, so I'm curious what they're going to do. I would guess at least 2 to 3/10.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that score is much higher than a 9.8.
Excellent.
Selena ranked number 7 in the all-around in the country as well. We talked about 4 of the top 5 in the country being in this meet. There is a slew of top 25 gymnasts competing in this, 10 actually in the top 25 in the all-around competing here today. Back over to balance beam in Missouri. If anybody can get things right for Missouri on this event, she has been perfect. It's Helen Hu. She follows a 9.85 from Olivia Kelly, and I'll tell you what, a perfect 10 would be exactly what the doctors ordered here for Missouri. Haley Bryant will anchor the bar rotation for LSU, Connor McLean at 9.9.
Haley on bars is the only gymnast from LSU to be able to get a 10 on every single event, but also the only gymnast from LSU to ever do it in one single season.
On the left-hand side of your screen, Helen is just slowly, beautifully moving through this routine.
Just a small step on that landing.
Front aerial into another front aerial. Helen has such unique elements, not just from her skills, but from a dance perspective. And a few of the difficult elements don't even get her extra points. So that's what makes it so impressive watching her do this so effortlessly. I spoke to her yesterday and I asked, what do you think about when you're on beam? And she's like, honestly, I really don't think about much. I just think about calm breathing. I did ballet for the first 7 years of my life, and I think that helps.
Interesting thing is she was done with gymnastics a couple of years ago. Took a year off, traveled the world, backpacked around the world literally, and then came by the gym and could do some gymnastics. And Shannon's like, hey, why don't you come back to the team? And she did, and man, what a great ad for them.
I mean, I don't know what deductions you take. This could be the first 10 of the night.
And at a very opportune moment for the Missouri Tigers, Florida on-floor exercise, Selena Harris Miranda, 9.9. This is Danny Ferris in the anchor spot.
Danny opening up with a tuck full in.
I think when the season started, fans were a little bit nervous about Florida. They had some key injuries, and they just keep fighting and trucking along week after week and improving. Coaches say that they really think they're finally finding that rhythm and momentum, and it reflects in the scores they've been getting each week.
Did a good job saving that front layout. Looked like she bent her legs when she landed that 1.5, but somehow managed to keep it upright. Good routine. I think starting on floor for Florida has to give them a little bit of confidence as they head into the rest of the rotations.
That was a very savvy save. You guys know the feeling of being under-rotated on a bounding skill, and to stay on your feet and minimize deduction. That was pretty impressive by Dani Ferris.
Starting off first pass, she is so powerful. Tuck full in, doesn't even grab her legs till the last second, and then her lunge is a bit long, but I give her props for hanging on to it and not moving that front foot. Here's where the problems came. She kind of shuffled her feet at the end, but to your guys' point, does a really good job saving the landing. Could have been a bigger mistake than it actually was.
Helen Hu on balance beam, a 9.925. It's not a perfect 10, but it is the highest score on beam so far. She's currently in the top spot on that event. Florida Gators with a solid opening floor rotation, and Taylor Davis is with the head coach. Certainly is not your grandparents' Missouri Tigers anymore. They are definitely one of the best teams in the country. Since the day Shannon Welker got there, from year 1 to year 2, the most improved team in the entire country. And you can see all the accolades, their best finish in program history 2022.
But it's because of athletes like Amari Celestine. Head coach Shannon Welker said that she brings so much energy, confidence, and aggressiveness in competition that rubs off in a positive way for this team. That's why you're noticing the swag that they're bringing to the competition tonight and throughout this season, really.
Yeah, and their best event, floor exercise, coming up, and they're going to have to deliver because, yeah, they might not want to be underdogs, but they are almost 5/10 out of the lead right now. So hoping to turn things around on floor. Here are your full results. Like we said, there's an afternoon session that took place and an evening session. The champion is the highest score of those 2 sessions. After one rotation of each of those sessions, this is what it looks like. Alabama currently in that 4th spot ahead of Missouri, who is in this session. But your top 3 teams, LSU, Oklahoma, and Florida. And just a reminder, too, you can see every routine on the live stream, SEC Network Plus, and the ESPN app. And here we go with our second rotation. Oklahoma moves to the bars, LSU. The balance beam, Sam, you said, let's wait till everybody gets the beam. It's LSU's turn. Missouri is on floor exercises. I mentioned Florida on vault. Anya Pilgrim, left hand of your screen, and Danielle Sievers on bars for Oklahoma on the right hand.
Yurchenko 1.5. Looks like a solid landing based on what her upper body was showing us.
Yeah, I saw Anya stick to in warm-up, and Dani right here had to repeat that pirouette. Didn't make it quite all the way over the bar. Not the start that Oklahoma wanted, but Dani's one of those gymnasts that usually doesn't miss, just showing us she's human. But great job coming back, sticking those landings. John, you talked about how important it is for Oklahoma to stick these landings on bars. They're the #1 country in the country on this, and they've got to stick.
Yeah, and watch them in training. Actually, I saw Dani miss that same kip in training, but you just watch them, and they just are machines on that event. And I feel like it's the event, like if you had to pick one where they had the biggest advantage, I felt like it was bars. And right now, they're going to have a tough time keeping up with LSU on that event with the score that they put up. Sierra Ballard, stud leadoff on the balance beam for LSU. Elise Tisler on floor exercise for Missouri.
Yeah, Sierra Ballard, the grad student that has just been shocking, I think, everybody. I've been watching her throughout her career, and she's had this consistent confidence and sharpness to her gymnastics that I think has really come to fruition in her final year. She has just really owned this leadoff spot, and I think LSU's benefited on beam because of it.
Sam, I completely agree. Coach Nat told me that Sierra is an out-loud processor. Before she goes up on the beam, they talk through every single element in her routine, and her goal is to do the longest routine of her life, because oftentimes when gymnasts are nervous, they rush on the beam. So she wants to be up there for as long as possible.
Looking pretty good so far for LSU on beam. Just the dismount. Can they bring those sticks from bars to beam? They can.
And Elise starting off for Missouri really strong. No deductions I'm seeing on those landings. They're going to be really excited about that.
Elise Tisler excited about that floor routine, the leadoff for the Missouri Tigers. Danny Sievers in the leadoff spot for Oklahoma. Allie, you mentioned the kip that she missed, a 9-8. Anya Pilgrim, on the other hand, what a start for Florida, and 9.925 in the leadoff spot. Are you serious right now? Victoria Wynn, the second gymnast to go.
Well, they had 3 stuck landings, and Victoria Wynn was one of them just last week. Close. She was in the right positioning, but that just showed me she had a lot of adrenaline and power going into that vault.
Now the pressure on a freshman, Lily Peterson. I say pressure, you don't want to count a 9-8 in this meet.
If you want anybody going up next, I'd take Lily any day. She has been so unbelievable. Hard to believe that she's a freshman. The consistency that she has in this double layout. Watch the precision. Her body is so tight. Every muscle squeezed. I was going to say usually sticks it.
She is so clutch, and it's so funny when you talk to the coaches because they talk about their freshmen as if they've been training great, but you just never know with the freshmen. But then you see athletes like Lily Peterson do a bar routine under some pressure here, stick the landing, and it doesn't even matter if they're a freshman.
So many freshman routines for Oklahoma, the most of any team in this SEC championship. At some points of the year, almost half of their routines competed were from freshmen. Over to the balance beam, Kylie Cohen now. Sierra Ballard led off with a 9.85. Hannah Horton will be the next gymnast to go on floor exercise for Missouri, following a 9.825.
Sierra Ballard started off with that 9.85, like you mentioned. So this is a good opportunity for LSU to continue building those scores throughout the lineup.
What stands out to me about Hannah on floor is she does a full in, like some other gymnasts we've seen in the competition, but I don't know if anybody does it quite like Hannah. She does the first flip in a complete layout position. Just excellent.
Coaches say she's just been that raw talent that they've really enjoyed working with because she is so powerful on every event. Left-hand side of your screen, Kylie Cohen, another stuck landing for LSU. Man, John, you got a smile on your face because they're hot right now.
The stuck landings are blowing me away. And, you know, we watched the first session this afternoon, and I think we were almost through the second rotation before we saw a stuck landing. And this evening, they're not wasting any time.
Wow, the way that she finishes that double tuck much easier than most and just kicks out before that landing is just exceptional. I don't know where the judges are going to find a place to take off.
Quickly over to vault, Danny Ferris. She's been perfect on this event in her career.
Yeah, just last week, John. Not today, though. These athletes are bringing the heat on vault. You see them get a bit higher off the table than what we've been seeing in the regular season. I really have to attribute that, 1, to the podium, and 2, to the extra adrenaline for how big of a competition this is.
Little postseason adrenaline here on the podium.
How can you not?
Yeah, for sure. Addison Theta, third gymnast up, and look at that, 9.95 for Peterson. You're worried about that 9.8. You don't need to worry if they hit their routines. They'll all be above 9.9.
Wow, that first release move for Addison was pretty far from the bar. Looked like she tucked her legs ever so slightly to catch that bar. Massive pack salto down to the low bar in double layouts. Just half a tenth hop right there.
That's a scooch, Allie. That's technically a scooch. Look it up in the Coda point.
Half a tenth, I think.
You see she's laughing because she was just so close to hanging on to that.
Kylie Cohen, a 9.85, matches Ballard's 9.85. Now Kaylin Shio.
I hope you didn't miss that mount. Round off back handspring, so difficult. Right into an effortless back handspring layout series. The way she works beam is so light. Watch her land right here. Absorbs the beam and just puts her body in the correct, precise place.
I think what makes athletes so good on beam is they pretend that they're on the line on the floor, and that's exactly what Kaylin does. She finishes that front aerial, closes her legs so quickly to have time to connect that into the split jump.
And she's doing a good job with the #1 rule of beam, which is look at the end of the beam. Her eyes have been glued, especially at the end of her skills, which helps her balance.
Stay on. I thought stay on was the #1 rule.
John, if you think about staying on the beam, that's when you make mistakes. You got to focus on doing the skill technically correct. Easier said than done, though. And she has this unbelievable ability. Oh! I jinxed her, sorry.
I don't remember the last time she's hopped on a landing.
It's a disaster for LSU. They've taken a hop, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, look at her face. She's not happy.
No,
We're not
she's
playing
not.
around,
She's
okay?
not.
She knows she can do this better.
She considers that a missed routine. Addison Feta for the Sooners, 9.925. And they've got 3 bar routines left that could be NCAA champions on that event. Lee Bowie now on vault for Florida, 9.825 for Danny Ferris. They're really hitting those landings hard if you take big steps, so they got to be big on these last 3 vaults.
Marchenko, 1.5, opens her arms at the right time. You see her taking a long time spotting the landing before the last half twist. Watch her eyeballs.
Watch the elbow position, and as Sam said, arms get thrown out to the side in order to have that nice landing, just that small hop.
The one thing I love about Florida is at the end of the vault landing, you always see Adrian Burdett, and he's always excited. Like he's the most excited guy in the arena. I love it. Faith Torres, tied for #2 in the country in the all-around. Man, she has been something special for this Sooner team this year.
Yeah, watch right here, gonna connect. Right here. Oops, not gonna connect. She's going to do a pack salto. And the height on this,
Wow,
she usually
Oh.
goes really big. Same mistake Danny made, didn't make it over on that pirouette.
She's working.
Very difficult when you catch that release move on the low bar too far. You don't have the right grip to get that proper kip pass handstand. That small
Wow.
2 hops on the landing.
That's just a little tiny crack in the door. I mean, I know it's going to seem like it's not a big deal, but that is a big deal for Oklahoma as we quickly move over to balance beam and Connor McClain.
It's crazy to think John Connor McClain tore her Achilles back in May at the Core Hydration Classic, but she was back on bars and beam by week 1 of NCAA season. And she said, the only reason I considered going back to Elite was because how much I loved the sport again. Her commitment to LSU and being part of a team has reinvigorated that fire. And head coach Jay Clark raves about how committed she was to her return. And he also mentioned there is a potential for her return in the all-around before all is said and done. Just remarkable.
Yeah, she looks like she's taken it to another level even after the halfway point of this season. Talk about taking it to another level. One of the most fun routines to watch in all of gymnastics, Amari Celestine on floor from Missouri.
Hopefully you saw quickly Connor's wolf jump. It is the best in the world. Just textbook how compressed she gets. Stuck the landing. This is going to be another big score for LSU.
And Amari, similar to what I was mentioning with Hannah, that first full in, the way that they both keep their body in the layout position, that first flip, it's very unique, and it just makes the skill exceptional.
And she's a senior, and this is her first year competing all around, really showing that she's been improving every single year since she's gotten to Missouri.
Leanne Wong, the next gymnast to go on vault for Florida. Lee Bowie, a 9.85. Florida, a good vault team. They're going to want to see some 9.9s here in these last 2.
Last meet, Leanne Wong scored a 10 on this vault right here. Small hop today.
I like the elbow position. I feel like Leanne, if it's even possible, she's improved because she's already so good, but that onto the board, the half turn, she's really gotten higher, which has given her a good body position onto the table. And watch this layout position before she even tucks her legs. It makes it so difficult. I'd love to see Amari and Hannah do a double layout full.
but it's the choreography for me. I can't get over it. Her brother Artyom has been helping her choreograph her entire career. It's so special.
The first biggest moment of this competition is right now. Audrey Davis following a 9.775 from Faith Torres.
And that Jaeger right there is just so fantastic. Audrey has never scored below a 9.8 in her entire career on this event because she does handstand positions like that. This skill coming up right here. Watch the flexibility. Most people in the world don't have the flexibility to be able to grip the bar like that. Usually sticks. That honestly was the best landing I've ever seen her do. She didn't even have to bend her legs. That was fantastic.
That might be the best routine. If you look at the handstands and how perfect they were, she's done a lot of great routines. Can't do it better than that. Can't do it.
No gymnast in the SEC has gotten a 10 yet on bars. So will Audrey Davis be the first?
It most certainly could. I mean, she scored a 9.9 or higher on 60 of 74 routines. That is remarkable.
And it takes an Audrey Davis on bars to overshadow a beam routine from last year's NCAA all-around champion. This is Haley Bryant in her own big moment here in the second rotation following McLean's 9.9.
She came back to the all-around late in the season, resting her body, coming back from a slight injury, but it looks like she never left from NCAA championships last year. That's how strong she looks.
Kennedy Griffin on floor exercise now for Missouri. She has scored a 10 on this event. She's currently ranked in the top 25. She follows Amari Celestine's 9.925. We said they had to be great on this event. They have been. Now they're trying to put on an exclamation point. Leanne Wong, a 9.875. Selena Harris-Miranda now finishes out for the Gators.
And just when you need a big score, Selena's in the anchor spot. Your Chenko 1.5. She does it again, John.
Needed that one.
That should get a 10, in my opinion. That was superb.
And you could see it off the table. It went up instead of out. And right away, I'm thinking she's going to stick this.
Well, when you look at the landing, both of you guys saw this too. I saw it with your eyes. When she landed, she was perfectly vertical. There was no aspect of her body behind or in front of that landing.
What a finish for the Gators. Audrey Davis, a 9.975. That means two judges gave her a 10. I will say there shouldn't be a 10 on bars in this competition if she doesn't get a 10. That was outstanding. The Gator contingency wants a 10 on vault, and they're going to get it. Selena Harris-Miranda, the first 10 of these SEC championships. You said it should be a 10, Allie, and it is.
Well deserved.
She's really making a statement in her first SEC championship.
Haley Bryant put up a 9.925. Man, it is just heavyweight boxers in each corner of the ring landing body blows as Aaliyah Finnegan takes the anchor spot here for LSU on beam.
Talk about athletes that can score a perfect 10 with that triple series. Handspring layout. She's already gotten one perfect 10 on this event.
Jordan Bauer, she has been sensational this season as well. Number 2 in the country, tied for number 2 in the country. Anchors bars.
And Sam Jordan on bars, another gymnast that scores a 10 on bars, just exceptional gymnast after another. Jordan's precision on this event is what sets her apart. She's able to be patient, hit her handstands at the top of the bar just like that.
They need a big number. On the right-hand side of your screen, she's I was just gonna say, you could see her taking a pause, trying to squeeze every muscle to hang onto that stick.
She rarely steps on that landing, and that can't be higher than a 9.9. That was a 110 step, but Aaliyah Finnegan.
And you can't forget Aaliyah Finnegan's big moment in helping win the NCAA championship title for LSU on beam last year. That's what I think about when I see her do beam.
And Sam, what's so impressive about this is that Aaliyah has to do this very difficult triple series while Selena is getting a 10. The crowd's going wild. So much is going on, and she was able to keep focused and be exactly where her feet are.
We're going to jump back over to the floor exercise. Jocelyn Moore getting ready to go.
You all were talking earlier in this rotation about the season of milestones it's been for Missouri. Head coach Shannon Walker also just celebrated his 100th win last week. He got a little emotional talking to us about it this week. He said it's people like Jocelyn Moore, who's getting going with a huge double layout here on floor, that have helped grow this program. He said, when I started, there were about 10 people in the stands, and now we're checking off big milestones like our first ever night session in the SEC Championship. It's been a special year for the Tigers.
Absolutely. It's been a record-setting year for that program, and this athlete, a big part of that. She's been perfect on this event, has scored a 10.
I've never seen her dance this hard. She's always fun to watch on floor, but this is the most expressive I've ever seen her do this floor routine.
Yeah, Sam, watching them, I was just thinking their tumbling, it looks so effortless, and the way that they dance, they're doing it with everything they have, but you forget that the routines are so tiring and they take so much endurance, and what's impressing me is they don't look tired at all. It looks easy for them.
This is a big moment right here. She needs to control the landing, keep those feet planted. It looked easy for her. Look at those scores. This is going to be a big one for Missouri.
This first tumbling pass, double layout, keeps her hips open the entire time. Judges are looking for toes together. So difficult to keep it together the way that she did.
And then there was a lot of pressure, so to me, this is a mental game to just land over your feet, squeeze your core, and keep those feet planted. She handles the pressure, no problem.
Wow, what a rotation. We saw our first 10-0 of this competition. 10s have been hard to come by this season. A lot fewer 10s than we've seen in recent years, only 22 this year. And Selena Harris Miranda, well-earned 10-0, wouldn't you agree, Alex? Score for Jocelyn Moore, a 9.95. They deliver on their best event. Do the Missouri Tigers. They needed a big one there. But it's LSU so far, really setting the bar for the rest of the field. And the head coach is with our Taylor Davis.
So good.
Who's going to win it? You know what you have to do. You got to put your mind to it. You got to put your grind to it. And you can do it if you're going to win an SEC championship. Welcome back to Birmingham. Sam Peshek, Allie Raisman, John Roethlisberger, Taylor Davis. We are having a great time here. And these are your results, your full results after 2 rotations. This includes session 1, LSU at the top, Oklahoma, Florida, Missouri. So the top 4 seeded teams now have taken their place atop the rankings. Alabama, currently the highest ranked team after 2 from that first session. We'll see how that shakes out. All the routines are streamed live. You can see them on the SEC Network Plus and the ESPN app. Make sure you check that out. Put it on along with the live broadcast, and what more could you ask for on a Saturday night? LSU moving to floor, you guys. They tumble through the sky. The podium, though, a lot of talk about the podium and how the landings will be handled with all that spring. We'll talk about that as we move further into the floor rotation for LSU. Kennedy Griffin, she was outstanding on the floor exercise. Here she is on vault for Missouri. They're trying to make a move here.
They actually moved her to this leadoff spot, and they think that's one of the reasons they've really elevated their team score. She's important.
Anya Pilgrim for Florida here on the uneven bars. Just .175 are the Gators out of first place. So really no team out of it at this point.
Anya just learned this skill in October, making it look so easy. Going to finish with a full twisting double back. Did a good job holding on to that landing.
I could not believe she hung on to that. Those toes were gripping so hard to the mat.
I think I saw a little foot move, guys. I'm thinking the left foot. Let's look at it.
Oh, you were right, John.
Is that those
I don't know. Owen must have been standing right in front of the judge. We'll see.
It's that new prescription I got. Audrey Davis, she is a national champion on this event. She leads off. What a luxury for the Oklahoma Sooners.
That handspring layout. She lands so light on the beam and works through the skills, transitioning to the dance element so effortlessly.
Kylie Cohen leading off for the LSU Tigers on floor exercise.
Kylie is new to this floor opening spot. Huge moment for her. They have so much momentum going into floor right now. And Kylie, I've been very impressed with her confidence, the consistency that she's brought to this team on beam and floor.
This Oklahoma team has made a couple mistakes on bars, but here on beam, they do so many show routines randomly just to put the pressure on them to practice these key moments like this. And it helps Audrey Davis. It also helps that she's a grad student and has been in these roles for years.
Yeah, Oklahoma ranked #1 in the country on 3 events, beam being one of those events. It's a pressure spot for them. They're coming from behind halfway through the competition, but if any team can handle that moment, it seems like it would be a team like Oklahoma.
On floor, judges are looking to make sure that those jumps are all the way around. At the Olympic level, you risk getting devalued for the skill. Judges won't devalue it, but they will take off a half a tenth if you don't make it all the way around.
Back over the vault with Olivia Kelly.
Oh, she's normally so good at absorbing the landing. That was a really big vault. You can notice how far back she is on the landing mat, but again, big hop on that landing. They're gonna hopefully want to drop that one.
They already have a 9.8 from Kennedy Griffin. Missouri 0.325 out of first place after that second rotation. Now, Sky Blakely was on that Olympic team. Unfortunately, tore her Achilles during that trials process. Did not go to Paris, but she's sensational here.
She really is, and right here, she struggled on this last week. Didn't make it over the bar. Perfect this week. Great correction.
Handstand, like to see a bit more vertical. We'll see what the judges say if she's in range. Just finishing double front with a half out. Allie, we talk about athletes needing an extra day to adjust to the podium, and the coaches say she is excited to be on podium. That's where she's actually comfortable. She prefers it.
So great start for Florida. Anya Pilgrim a 9.9. Sky Blakely clearly sensational with that routine. We'll see what the judges do. Addison Fada follows Audrey Davis's 9.9. I almost thought that could have been a little higher for Audrey Davis. Addison, a gymnast to me that seems like she is such an important athlete to them. Has been very good this season, but had some moments where she's had a few problems. If she can be consistently at 9.9 or above, man, that adds something special to this lineup that's already special.
Yeah, coaches say that Addison Fada's, the key to her routine is that she starts off dancing really hard, and I'm noticing the aggressiveness already.
Sierra Ballard on floor exercise now follows a 9.875 from Kylie Cohen. If you want to follow those scores gymnast by gymnast, Audrey Davis, a 9.9, gains a quarter of a tenth on Kylie Cohen with that 9.875. Looking at the top 2 teams.
Oh, Sierra almost touched her knees down on the floor. That does not feel good.
All 3 gymnasts in the booth kind of went, ow, because we've all done that. Not a pleasant feeling.
Especially for a grad student. Her body has had some wear and tear in this sport, so also uncharacteristic. I haven't seen her do that this season. Addison Fada on the left-hand side of your screen. Another hit beam routine from OU.
That's going to be a big score for Addison. That was a fierce beam routine. She was not moving. Her arms were so tight the entire time. Sierra told me that right about this point in the routine, she finds her parents in the stands, but she usually can't find her mom because her mom gets so nervous that she's somewhere pacing in the arena right now.
And her mom, a 2-time Olympian, Lori, 88 in 1992 for Canada. Elise Tisler now follows a 9.775 from Kelly. They need some big scores here, does Missouri.
Doing a Yurchenko full, and some might say that's a downgrade from 1.5, but the coaches say it's actually an upgrade because She scores better and lands better. I don't know about this one, though. Looks like she went too hard to stick it.
Yeah, exactly. Really putting those arms out and wanting that stuck. You know what, though? If you're Missouri, you've got to swing for the fences at this point.
You do.
You're down, and you have to go big. You've got to stick that ball. Anything less is not going to be good enough. Leanne Wong now the third gymnast to go. Look at this rotation so far for Florida. 9-9, 9-9-5 from the first two.
Yeah, Leanne tied with Audrey Davis as the 2024 NCAA bar champion because of handstands like that, Sam. And this double layout is just so floaty and so effortless. Love the way that she keeps her hips open the entire time, doesn't have to pike down.
I mean, they're all going to ask for a 10. We already know that.
Yeah.
But what are the judges going to do? You feel like they got to go up from that 9.95 from Blakely. Lily Peterson now on the beam. Addison Feta, 9.875, so a little dip in the score with that second routine.
You all were mentioning how impactful these Oklahoma freshmen have been, and I've been down here by the corrals since they got off to a start they weren't necessarily happy with. These freshmen are completely unfazed. I've seen them talking to the upperclassmen, really staying locked in. It's impressive the tunnel vision they've had on this stage.
Sometimes being a freshman and not understanding the amount of pressure that's on these moments is a payoff.
And the reason you hear cheering in the background and you see the box on the right hand of your screen, that's our 10-0 watch. It's the second 10 of these SEC championships, and it goes to Leanne Wong. How about the Gators with a couple of 10-0s?
They had a slow start to the season, but they picked it back up, and Lily Peterson with another stick for OU.
Can the other programs answer? Kaylin Chio, the big mount.
Kaylin scored a 9.925 last week on floor. A lot of talk about those switch rings Kaylin just did. I've been hearing the judges have been taking a half a tenth off. They want to see that back leg above that 180 in that bent leg by your head. So difficult to do, and this is a huge test. Perfect. That punch front was one of the better ones I've seen her do. Looked like she was on a trampoline.
Hannah Horton on ball from Missouri, left hand of your screen.
They got to get these sticks. Oh, big hop in that landing.
Form was so good in the air, though.
So good. Jay Clark, head coach of LSU, talks about Kaylin Chio, and I've heard him ask I've asked so many questions about her because it fascinates me just how good she is. And she does skills like this, open, tuck full in, but he says it's her attitude. She has this, don't mess with me when it comes to the competition. And Allie, you see it in her eyes.
It was really cool. He actually compared Kaylin and Connor McLean. He said both of them are perfectionists. If they even take a step or a hop in practice, he said, get out of their way. They're going to do it again until it's exactly the way they want it.
And we saw it on beam when Kaylin took a step on that landing. She was not happy.
Great pair to watch right here. Selena Harris-Miranda following that 10-0. Jordan Bowers, left hand of your screen, following a 9-9 from Pearson. Florida just a 10th behind Oklahoma, who sat in the second spot after the last rotation.
And Selena, in my opinion, these cast handstands right here like that, she holds them better than gymnasts do in the Olympic bar final. This is perfect. Will we see her second 10 of the night? I don't know how I'm in awe of how she does those handstand positions, like she's hanging out against the wall.
That was really good. But she goes up after Leanne Wong, who I think is a little more perfect. Is there two types of perfect? Leanne Wong's double layout, a little more. I'm just curious to see how the judges handle that one.
But Leanne's holding those handstands. I agree with Allie. That is what makes her stand out. She holds them longer than anybody else in this competition. We'll see. We'll see.
And this right here on beam is the only event Jordan has not gotten a 10 on. Her form on this event stands out. In my opinion, I'm curious if the reason she hasn't gotten a 10 is because of her dismount. She gets a lot of height, but sometimes her legs are crossed a little bit.
Mari Drayton on floor with a big opening pass here.
Jordan Bowers on the left-hand side of your screen, going for that dismount. Watch the legs. hop on the dismount.
1/10 hop. I think you got to take a 10th on that one. That means no higher than a 9.9 again. We saw her take that step on bars. And now that little bit of hopping in this competition, it really feels like that is going to be the difference. 9.95 for Selena Harris Miranda. It's not a 10, but look at the numbers. Right now, Florida is dropping a 9.9 with 2 gymnasts to go. That's absurd. Jocelyn Moore on vault for Missouri.
Speaking of 10, Jocelyn Moore holds the program's lone perfect 10 record on vault. Oh, there's such good vaults, which is why we're seeing it in slow motion. Easier for us to say, sitting here in the booth, what little adjustments in the air need to be made.
Watch the extension of Amari's body. Such a difficult skill to open up with. And then this impressed me. The front tuck was so high, I was a little worried she was gonna have too much power into the double tuck, but did a really good job of controlling that.
I think that's been a big improvement with her over the past 2 seasons, is controlling those landings despite, I want to say despite having so much power, while having so much power, which we all know is a superpower, but it's tough to rein it in sometimes in critical moments.
Alyssa Arena now on the uneven bars for Florida, sophomore. And Ava Siegfeld for Oklahoma on balancing a 9.875 for Jordan Bowers.
Alyssa got a 9.95 last week. Hoping for a big score tonight. Same dismount we've seen from Leanne. Oh, I wasn't sure she held it on. Wow.
I mean, she's set up pretty well for a good score. How about a 10 and a 9.95 to go before you? Incredible.
That is a bar rotation for the record book so far.
Really strong arm positions for Ava on beam. It's another aspect to really help you stay balanced, is keeping your arms controlled on either side of the beam.
Last season, Ava's first time ever in the beam lineup. Oh no, she scored a 10. Just sometimes if that first back handspring is crooked, beam is so unforgiving. You breathe at the wrong moment and it just takes you off the beam.
Aaliyah Finnegan over on floor exercise. So with that fall from Siegfeld on beam, they are going to count 2 scores of a 9.875. That seems great, but tonight it's not. That is a real bad situation for the Oklahoma Sooners.
Finishes strong. Aaliyah Finnegan staying in bounds. She struggled with that first pass, and they actually just removed a step, which seems like no big deal, but we all know if you've done gymnastics, just removing a step is pretty tough to do, but no biggie for Aaliyah, and actually helped her stay in bounds.
Yeah, Sam, they actually removed a step from her next tumbling pass, the 2.5 punch front as well, because she kept going out of bounds. Last week, absolutely no issues, but you're right, removing a step makes a big difference because you're actually starting on a different foot than when you're used to. She's been taking the other footstep her entire life, and it's been a habit, and now she's got to change it. So this right here, 2.5 punch front, wow, was a little bit too far back when she punched on that 2.5. Did a great job just muscling through that punch front.
But she told Jay, I have so much room now. And we saw that. She does have a lot of room.
LSU in the lead after two rotations, but Florida coming on strong. They're going to need a big score from Finnegan there. They got Haley Bryant left to go. Moments ago on vault, Amari Celestine in the anchor spot. Jocelyn Moore, a 9.875 right before her.
The athlete that's helped elevate this Missouri team, 1.5. But again, with the hop forward, it's going to be a good score. But, John, you mentioned this. It's not going to be enough to contend with these top teams tonight, with the 10s we're seeing tonight.
Here's Riley McCusker. This is almost just a victory lap of sorts. She can't improve the score a whole lot.
And John, this will be a big test for Riley right here. She fell on this last week.
Beautiful.
Great correction right there. Always feels good to hit it after you make a mistake. And Riley is exceptional at this event too. The toe point, the extension.
And look how happy she is. She's really struggled with her confidence in competition. And John, you say that not many people can improve the score, but the person that can is Riley McCusker, and she's going to.
When she is on, as an elite, she was one of the best bar workers in the entire world. That bar routine alone almost put her on an Olympic team back in Tokyo, and that routine right there, wow, that was sensational. Faith Torres in the anchor spot here. You can see that Siegfeld 9.4. They'll want to drop that score, but regardless, this is a disappointing rotation for Oklahoma.
Faith's got ice in her veins. If there's an athlete that can do it on their team, my trust is in Faith.
We got the end of Faith Torres' routine, but I'm sorry if she got a little upstaged by another 10. Riley McCusker puts up a 10. There's 2 10s. 3.995's the highest score on bars this season, as Haley Bryant for LSU trying to put up a number that'll keep them close to the Gators. What a turnaround here in the third rotation. Riley McCusker, a late addition to the lineup as well. I guess Jenny Rowland put a feather in your cap on that one, head coach. Nicely done.
Talk about peaking at the right time. Florida, man, they're looking good. This routine should definitely improve LSU's score, though. They're currently counting a 9.775, and when you have a Haley Bryant in your lineup, you're destined for greatness there.
Coach Clark says Haley Bryant, she does everything right.
She does. There's only one Haley Bryant, is what they always say, and she does it time and time again. Consistency is what's so impressive with that athlete.
Yeah, Haley Bryant struggled a little bit with an elbow injury in the preseason into the regular season, so slowly worked her way back. Head coach Jay Clark said, hey, we're playing the long game with her. We know she can do it. We just need her to be healthy for the postseason. So she's into the all-around again, just at the right time for the LSU Tigers, and that was an opportune floor routine as well. They finished with 4 9.9 plus scores in a row, 3 of which were 9.95, 1 of which was from Haley Bryant in the anchor spot. So good floor rotation for LSU, a 49.625, outstanding, but all the talk, that Florida bar rotation, you guys see that coming?
They couldn't have done it better, in my opinion. Every handstand was hit, the dismounts were milked in the landings. I mean, they were on fire.
I mean, I'm sitting here getting emotional because these athletes, they work so hard, and it's so beautiful to see how happy they all are for each other. I mean, what a competition. This has been just really amazing to watch.
Unbelievable. And if this rotation shows you anything, again, the strength of this has been an exciting evening session as we look at the combined results. But how about Alabama? Currently in the 4 spot. When you combine the afternoon session and the evening session after 3 rotations, this is how it would look. Missouri in that 5 spot, but up at the top, it has become a 3-team race, maybe a 2-team race. It might just be Florida LSU, guys. LSU's on vault. Oklahoma's got their work cut out for them to catch that second place LSU team, because right here they are sensational, starting with KJ Johnson. An automatic stick, Allie, I'm calling it.
Rinse and repeat your Yurchenko layout full. Just a small pump on that landing.
But nobody does a Yurchenko full like KJ.
There's athletes that do them just as good, but no one does them better. I agree.
LSU a 1/2 tenth out of first place. Florida to beam. The competition doesn't start till you get to beam. Allie, you mentioned it when Missouri was on beam in the first rotation, and now the pressure on Skylar Dracer as she leads off and her Gator teammates.
They are so stacked on this event. You're just seeing one lineup for Florida, but they actually could probably fill a couple and two well. Strong back handspring layout. Last meet, she started this event with a 9-9.
Kira Burns will lead off for Missouri on bars. They are 9/10 out of the top spot, but currently in 5th. They definitely do not want to drop out of that top 4.
I like where Kira caught that shoot over. She caught it well above the horizontal position on the low bar. This routine has been very clean. Stuck dismount. That's going to be a good score. I don't know if they could have asked her to do a better routine than that on bars.
Very strong start from Missouri, and Florida's getting things going on beam.
Sam, I saw Selena giving Skylar a pep talk before beam. I wish we could hear what she said, but whatever it was, it worked.
Audrey Davis to lead off here on floor exercise for the Sooners. They are going to have to be lights out. They are #1 team in the country on this event, but they have got some ground to make up. They have scored a 49.775 on this. That's a huge score, and they need it again right here. Lexi Zeiss, the #2 vaulter, follows KJ Johnson's 9.875.
Yurchenko 1.5, first 10-0 vault. I thought she could have hung on to that. She gingerly stepped forward, almost automatic, but maybe we'll see a stick in her future.
Yeah, we've seen some big steps. There were probably 2 10 steps. That one, it felt like it was a half 10 step. Don't want to step, but she made it a very small one. We'll see if they decide that's a half 10th or more.
You'll notice Audrey steps out of her tumbling passes and does a kick like that, trying to trick the judges not to take a landing deduction.
The thing about Oklahoma on floor, they do a lot of twisting skills, and usually they do them well, but when you're twisting into the ground, a lot of times you're going to open yourself up for potential steps on landings, as opposed to an LSU, a lot of double layouts where you can see the ground coming from a long ways away.
Yep, but John, they dance out of their tumbling passes so well. It's choreographed to help with that mistake you're talking about.
It's got to be 9-9s the rest of the way if you are a Sooner. And really probably higher. They almost darn near got to put up a Florida Gator-like bar rotation here on floor exercise to give themselves a shot. Again, 0.275, almost 3/10 behind the Florida Gators, and it doesn't appear like the Florida Gators are going anywhere. Skylar Dracer, a 9.85, as Anya Pilgrim now, someone who has been an incredibly consistent athlete. Just a sophomore, but her freshman campaign was outstanding. Hannah Horton on bars follows a beautiful 9-9 start from Kira Burns.
Hannah's form on bars, the way that she flies and manages to squeeze even her big toes together. The lightness and the effortlessness of the way that she does this bar routine. And the glide on the kip has been a big emphasis for the judges this year.
Anya Pilgrim on the left-hand side of your screen. She had an adjustment on her series. I got a lot of props for her because it looked crooked and she was able to save it with just a little bobble. The rest has been so far solid. Whenever we ask the coaches to tell us about Anya, they just say she likes to win. And it's good that she's on Florida's team right now because they're currently winning. And this is looking to be another outstanding rotation for them.
They are finishing the competition the way LSU started. They can't step. I'm not sure if they tried to step, they could step. It's incredible. Danny Sievers, we saw her have a little bit of trouble, and we've got some music issues.
That's not an easy thing to navigate as an athlete. When you're ready to go up and you're nervous, you've got that adrenaline, and then you have to restart, it can be really hard.
You have to start your mental preparation all over again, but there is no deduction for that happening.
Aaliyah Finnegan on vault, follows Lexi Zeiss's 9.9. They've got 4 vaulters yet to go, and they are set up for big numbers.
Yurchenko 1.5, very clean landing.
And you'll notice on floor, Danny, she likes to get her tumbling passes out of the way very quickly. There's a rule, they have to tumble out of 2 different diagonals. So you see she very quickly got to the other diagonal, and she's gonna do the second pass. This is very intentional. Landed short on that. Opened up to try to stick that landing too early.
She hasn't been in the floor lineup throughout this season. She's been a late add. They're happy to have her back. She's such a performer, but again, it's those moments where she doesn't necessarily have the numbers under her belt.
Mounting the balance beam. Anya Pilgrim just a 9.8, so a 9.85 and a 9.8 for Florida to start this rotation. Compare those scores to LSU on vault. They have a 9.875, 9.9, and another 9.9 from Aaliyah Finnegan. That's advantage LSU. They were only a 0.5 behind. So right now, early in this rotation, LSU takes the lead.
I love that series. That's called an Anodi. Back handspring with a half twist into another back handspring. Really difficult to do. Don't see many of those.
Yeah, Sam, she gets 4/10 bonus for that. So that tells you how difficult it is. And then I also love, she does an inside turn. We mostly see turns the other way, and that uniqueness of it is just nice because the judges are seeing similar full turns. So to have that originality, the judges definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, they're looking at a lot of routines. So it's good to find ways to stand out.
Jocelyn Moore mounts the bars, 9.875 from Hannah Horton. Nice bar rotation so far for the Tigers.
Finishing back handspring, 1.5. Just the half on the dismount.
That Tkachev on bars was, we could have walked under that. That was unbelievable.
Both of our mouths were wide open after that. Really.
Wow, if she sticks, wow. I am curious what the judges are gonna do with that because I didn't see any deductions. That was excellent.
Well, the judges are feeling a little spicy today. We've seen 2 on that event, so maybe we'll see another.
The height on this.
Are you kidding me right now? The bar is 8 feet approximately. Add 5, if my math tells me correctly, that's about 13 feet. How high is a basketball hoop? 10?
She's known for that height on that release move. I mean, worth the price of admission, that's for sure.
Another athlete that can fly is Amari Drayton right here on vault. Another Yurchenko 1.5.
They're looking for those controlled landings.
That was their biggest landing deduction by far. We've seen that vault score about a 9.8 throughout this competition. That is a number they don't want to count. They have 2 great vaults yet to go, but the margin for error much thinner now for LSU. Elle Mueller follows a 9.8 from Danny Sievers. There is 0 margin for error for Oklahoma.
Took a step forward, would have loved to have seen her take a step backwards to show more landing in an upright position.
Yeah, that step forward, Allie, automatic 1/10 deduction, not what Oklahoma wants to see right now.
What do you do for a curtain call when already just got the 10 on bars? You go to beam. They need a big one here. Nothing bigger than a 9.85 so far for the Gators on balance beam.
And this.
Oh, sorry, Allie. That broken leap combination, I'm jumping in here because very uncharacteristic for Leanne. She's going to adjust and most likely do it again, but completely had a mistake in the middle of her leap combination.
And even though no connection on that, it looked like execution. They're going to find some execution errors in that, right?
Yeah, it was. They're going to take an execution error because she wasn't able to go for the connected element switch ring, but she's a veteran. So if there's somebody that can adjust, she really is the queen of adjusting flawlessly. covering it up, I should say. Finishing tuck full. I'm curious if she is going to start from a 10.0. She's good at adding elements into her routine. That's where the mistake came.
And there definitely was a wobble there, but man, she's a veteran. And you can absolutely tell the way she saved that.
She minimized it, we can say that.
She definitely did. Olivia Kelly now follows Jocelyn Moore's 9.925. Missouri not going to win the SEC championship, but man, they're trying to finish on a high note.
They're still wanting to finish in 4th place, John. Alabama is knocking at that door, even though they're already finished competing.
Just a little bit too low on that landing. Sam, as you mentioned earlier, we've all been there where we try to stick, but judges want to see you land with your chest upright.
Caitlin Chio now on ball, following Amari Drayton's 9.8. Caitlin Chio does a Yurchenko 1.5, and I don't know anyone who lands more consistently than she does.
And her body shape in the air, her stretched hips, the extension when she lands, it's really nice, but it's not a stick today, guys.
The stuck vaults are just, they're getting away from people very close, but just not quite pulling out those stuck landings. Addison Theta now, still no 9.9s for Oklahoma on floor exercise. The #1 floor team in the country. When they needed 9.9s the most, they're eluding them.
Addison got a 9.95 last week. Notice just a little bit off, landed a little low on that. That stag jump, the back leg was just ever so slightly bent. But what you'll notice about this Oklahoma team is the choreography is, in my opinion, it's epic. Head coach Kindler choreographed their routines. Wow.
Whoa.
I'm impressed that she managed to, I don't know how she did that. The front tuck almost looked like,
That was supposed to be a 2.5.
Yeah.
She landed clearly in a double twist and added that half. That's
really,
going to be a big deduction.
Really great that she was able to have the air awareness to keep herself safe. Most gymnasts after the punch front would have stopped completely, and she kept going, but really smart that in that moment she was able to make that decision to just go for the double full.
Caitlin Chio a 9.9 for LSU with just Haley Bryant to go. Oklahoma 2 gymnasts yet to go here.
Well, when I spoke to head coach KJ Kindler, she said Addison has been really impressive, but coming from the elite world, she hasn't had a ton of competitive experience under pressure.
Watch the punch front, watch her leg position. It looked like her back leg almost, I don't know if it gave out or she was tired, but if you land with your legs a little bit too bent, it doesn't set you up in the right position. Really glad that she was able to just do the double twist, and impressive. As I mentioned, most gymnasts would have stopped right after the front through. I don't know how she kept going. It shows her strength, how mentally and physically strong she is.
Yeah, how strange. It looked like her arm or her leg gave out, but her mistake looked really beautiful. And it kind of similar to Leanne Wong, where these athletes make mistakes and it really still looks lovely.
My mistakes never looked really good at all.
I wouldn't say mine did either.
Still waiting on Leanne Wong's score. The judges disagreed. They're having a powwow. We'll see how long that takes. Amari Celestine. Look at this bar rotation. Low score so far for Missouri, a 9.85. Leanne's score is in, 9.675. They got her on that, Sam.
Nice handstand to finish things up. They say Amari talks the talk, but she's able to walk the walk too. And it's routines like that that come in clutch all season long.
Big pressure set now for Selena Harris Miranda. All 9.8s up until that 9.675 that they're going to want to drop. So they're counting those 9.8 scores. You look up at LSU scores at the top. 3 scores of 9-9. Their low score a 9-8, which currently they're going to drop. They're probably going to drop it with Haley Bryant yet to go. So this meet appears to be LSU's to win. That means Florida's got to be perfect just to give themselves a chance here.
We'll talk about perfect. Selena scored a 10 last time she competed on this event.
It was a beautiful mistake, Sam. 9-8 for Addison Theta.
Wow.
So not a disaster as Jordan Bowers now takes to the floor. Tied for first in the country on this event. Taylor, I know you're down there somewhere. You love this Florida team.
It's hard not to, and KJ Kindler takes such pride in the storytelling element. I heard Allie mention the choreography, and Jordan told me this is by far her favorite floor routine of her career. And yeah, it's one of those that you stop and watch when you hear that music come on.
Taylor, I completely agree, and I think everyone stops and watches this first tumbling pass. Sam, I've heard you say nobody does this quite like Jordan Bowers. Just floats like she's bouncing on a trampoline into that punch front.
Yeah, and strong finish for Selena. Not quite a stuck landing, but they needed a strong hit. That's what she was able to provide.
Moments ago, this is Haley Bryant. She trying to close it out for the LSU Tigers.
We know she excels in the postseason. She does it again. Small, ever so slightly popped, maybe only just 1 foot.
And what makes this vault so good, the reason she can get so high, is her elbows are so straight on the table. Just gets higher and higher, I feel like, every time I see her.
Yeah, it just propels her body up so high, and she didn't move both feet, but I think that's a half-tenther. There's no way it's more than that.
And nobody does that vault better than Haley Bryant, and it is a half-tenther because they give her a 9.95. Question is it enough to win it for the LSU Tigers? I am being told it is. LSU with that Haley Bryant 9.95 put it out of reach.
That handspring layout, keeping that front foot planted, trying to battle those nerves, being the last athlete up, knowing that it's a close meet. I can guarantee you she doesn't know that LSU has already won it.
Yeah, Sam, to your point, she's had to wait patiently on the side. It's hard not to overthink and get in your head when you're waiting to go last up.
Switch leap into that split half. Again, I want to see stronger arms from Alyssa when she lands. Really showing the judges she has that commanding finish. But I've been impressed with her throughout this year. She's really showed a sense of pride and ownership that she didn't have last year.
So Rana finishing up on beam. Faith Torres going on floor. If you look at the scores on the right-hand tower, Florida, a 49 on beam before that routine. It will go up, but Oklahoma, a 49.275. 0.275 is the difference between these two teams coming into this rotation.
Faith Torres on the floor. I think she's really improved that double layout. Coaches had told me that the judges had said that they took off for the leg separation in the air. I thought she improved that greatly.
Yeah, execution is really what I think everybody in the gymnastics community would agree that Oklahoma really prides themselves on, and usually that's really the difference maker of their gymnastics.
Fantastic finish for Faith Torres and Jordan Bowers on the floor exercise for Oklahoma. However, it will not be an SEC championship title for them, but someone who could win one for herself. This is moments ago. This is Mara Teeter-Soli for Missouri, finishing up on bar. Sensational here. You got to be perfect to win this event tonight.
Yeah, look at the form. The legs don't come apart. That pack salto is just breathtaking, and that pirouette changes her hands so quickly.
Scored 2 perfect 10s on this event in her career.
Wow. Line change right on top of the bar for that stuck dismount.
Make it 3 perfect 10s. That is the 3rd perfect 10 on bars in this championship. Up until this point in the history of the SEC championships, there's been 3. And look at that, everybody's getting 10. Faith Torres gets a 10.
You get a 10. You get a 10. We all get a 10.
I'll tell you what, the judges have been tough this season. But honestly, this is some of the best gymnastics we've seen this year.
I agree, and I still stand by Lily Hudson from Alabama. Needed to get a 10 on that vault from the earlier session.
Sam, I agree with you, and I also think Audrey Davis should have gotten a 10 on bars, and Selena on bars as well.
While we're at it, let's just rejudge the meet. Phenomenal way to end this competition. Really strong finish from all of these teams.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. We thought LSU and Oklahoma were gonna battle this out. And look at Florida coming in, making a claim for the title right up until the end. And then you get Oklahoma coming on strong at the end. They move back into second, but it's LSU with that 198.2. The Tigers say to Oklahoma, not so fast. This is our SEC. They defend that championship.
And it wasn't easy. They fought from the first event all the way to Haley Bryant's last vault. They needed a spectacular vault rotation, and they did it.
There is the trophy. I tell you what this has done for me. This has got me pumped up for the NCAA championship. It is going to be an incredible run in the postseason.
Any of these teams we could see, and we will most likely see in the NCAA championships, making a run for another title is going to be LSU Tigers.
Missouri stays in the top 4 there. Wow. What a competition here in Birmingham.